This is a love reading for someone who probably really doesn't want to hear it right now, though you might be hearing a lot about something from someone. I think that the relationship is kind of in the midst of building foundational security, I would say, like a backbone, kind of turning into something that maybe is more like set it and forget it instead of constantly needing tending to. And, you know, you've been like weaving this reality. You've been creating this, preying on the health of the relationship, preying on the health of you, maybe in how you show up in the relationship. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, because I think that there's something that maybe either didn't work out in your favor, or something that, like a manifestation that didn't come through exactly the way that you pictured it, or maybe the two of you just quite simply aren't getting along. And there's like a stopping point. There's like a checkpoint that says like, hey, we need to address this. Ooh, maybe bigger than a checkpoint. We have the Tower, maybe quite a checkpoint there. You know, something pretty serious. The Star coming out here as well. This could have to do with, you know, balance in the relationship, relating work and money, relating to, you know, work, money, productivity, and the amount of time and energy that you're spending in the relationship. I almost feel like there's other things that, you know, you could be doing, or I'm getting like this vision or this idea of someone who kind of is saying like, I could have been doing all of these things, you know, I could have been doing X, Y, and Z, and yet here I am, Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I could have even, yeah, the King of Swords under that. I could have been doing all of these other things, and maybe kind of getting really critical with yourself on it. The World. This is a new chapter for the two of you. But the Eight of Swords and the Five of Swords here. This, you know, it's up to you how things move going forward. I think that you're aware, you must be aware that a lot of the issues that are presenting themselves in the relationship dynamics that you're currently engaging with are because of insecurity or a sense of competition or a need to prove yourself. Like, this is, I think, two people who are projecting onto each other, you know? So the kind of tough love portion of this message would be like, hey, you know, I don't know, it is a little bit like get your head out of your ass. But I can also see here with frog and turtle and earthworm, I can see, it's funny because like butterfly is right after earthworm, so there's definitely like a new leaf turning in the relationship. But I can see this like need for a bit of like a backup, need for a bit of like a mental health break between you guys. There's a need for space. And that doesn't mean, I mean, like, how does that make you feel? You know, does it stress you out to think that you're going to be away from this person? Because you're not going to be. I think that you're learning a new way of relating to each other. Hold on. So I like to use the alchemy deck in readings like this because it really opens up conversation around like what processes are really taking place at this time. We have gold, resin, and Chiron. Dude, like, I can't, that just makes this feel so much more powerful than it already did. You know, this is not just about like closing up cycles or like dealing with like petty arguments or anything like that. Like, this is, you know, gold is the final form and resin is a hardening of that. Chiron is asking the question of like, what do you want to bring into this time? You know, resin is like, and the other thing here about this is that there are things about this connection that are really, really good. You know, there are things about this connection that are already in their final form, you know, like the reason that it is a connection at all, the reason that you're in connection with this person is undeniable. There's something there between the two of you that is of undeniable, unshakable value. You know, that value will never shift. But Chiron is speaking to, I guess, what between the two of you is offering you know, because Chiron is, you know, the wound is a window. It's offering a new perspective or a new way of, I guess, relating to each other. A new way of looking, but it feels like a much bigger, we have smoke, iron, and sparks of light. This is a new, and this is to what I said a moment ago about like things in the connection that are already undeniably good or true, right? Like things that are just, they just are. This is speaking to that. But smoke and sparks of light are saying that like things that have been burned away, you are starting to see the new that's coming in to replace. We can think of iron as like the bones of a building. When a building has really good bones, which it seems like it is, that is the case here, then what has been burned away is just like the bad insulation, you know, the cheap insulation that was installed, or like the old, you know, things that need to be updated. And so as the smoke is clearing, as you're getting like new upgrades to the house, that is the relationship, it's starting to make sense. It's starting to come together. But sulfur at the bottom of the deck, it stinks and it purifies. What's beautiful about this reading is that like they're definitely, you know, the first card from the tarot that came out was the Hierophant. So there's definitely like higher power at play here. That's the way I'm seeing that in this reading. If you felt like this relationship, you know, no matter how new or how, you know, no matter how many years or days or weeks or whatever you've been spending in this connection, if you feel something there that, and like please ground yourself, right? Whatever, like don't make it fit, but if you feel like there's something there that is extremely powerful or extremely karmic, or like, you know, that God brought you all together, la la la, right? And it's not just coming from like an ego place, like you've spent time thinking about this and you can tell, then this is definitely something that is going to secure the relationship, for, like, I'm hearing for good, for life. Yeah, the Queen of the Queen of Pentacles here. Something that is built to last. The Page of Swords, what's that about? There was something that came through earlier, before I hit record, about maybe a lot of this just kind of being about maturity. Yeah, the Page of Swords, Page of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. Yeah, I think that there are moments of like pretty major insecurity, and immaturity that shine through. And like, this is just, I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of a symptom of a healthy relationship or a very loving dynamic when these things start to come up, because it shows that wounds are starting to be worked out, you know, like hurt parts of the self, both of you as individuals, are coming up, ready to be addressed and worked through within the container that is the relationship, in that house that is the relationship. So as the house is getting upgraded, yeah, these things are coming out to play. You know, is it going to drive you away from each other, or is it going to bring you closer? For the moment, right, it sounds like it's going to drive you away from each other, but for the moment, it sounds like it's going to drive you away from each other. But what is the Hanged Man doing, right? He's observing. And here we have the Three of Pentacles upright. He's observing, specifically with the Three of Pentacles, the World, and then the Chariot. There's something here about observing the way that you are moving in relationship to each other right now versus the way that you're moving in relationship to each other, or in relationship to like the future, right? I feel like I could have said that much easier. The way that you're moving with each other right now versus the way that you want to be moving with each other. That, I don't know why I have to say things with so many extra words. And maybe that's a message for you too, you know, speaking with intentionality, saying what you mean, right? We don't have to be so decorative or embellished in the way that we communicate with each other, especially if the things that we're communicating are coming from a hurt place. Maybe take a second to breathe. Nine of Pentacles, slow down. Make sure that you're saying the things that you mean and not the things that you don't, in short.